undefeated. Undefeated.
We are live. 409 The Heat Sports presents Mad Sports. I'm your host, David Hicks, and as always, my co-host,
Richard, Dallas Cowboys James.
I like to see that you're still Dallas Cowboys James.
We haven't given up yet.
I haven't either. I haven't given up on you either. I just want you to know that this has been such a beautiful. It was like, I don't know if it was the cold front that hit Texas. It just, something was in the air. It was like an array of Disney magical characters and birds chirping like I was in a Cinderella movie or something. It just seemed happier this week. I don't know what it
You
was.
must have been watching another channel because it wasn't all sunshine and roses where I was sitting.
I'll tell you what I was watching.
Tell you what I was watching too.
I was watching those Jets, Jets.
And I was watching those FLAGS, flags. Wear yellow, pound, fight flags.
I like it, man. Hashtag fight flags. That's a beautiful thing. You're so bright. It would look like a highlighter sitting next to me.
I'm an official referee's flag.
Well, you know what?
It's as bright and obscene as what they were calling.
Well, I had to dig.
Just ask those Lions. Lions fans out there, you feel me?
I had to dig deep into my New York Jet collection because I have so many things. I had to decide whether I was going to bring my Joe Namath fur coat out, but it was a little too hot for this. So I just went in the back and I was like, you know what? Let me get my official Jets hat right here. That's
Unsportsmanlike conduct.
oh, wave them proud. No, you can keep this for when you play the Steelers if y'all play them this year because it looks good though. You can just throw that in my trash pile.
Don't worry. False start over here.
Bandwagon van on 3, 5-yard penalty. Jets.
Roughing the co-host. Almost have as many flags as the Cowboys at this rate.
Woo, these are official too right here. These are used in gambling purposes. Oh wait, they bet the under. Never mind. All right, Dallas.
Personal foul. He's not allowed to say Dallas with wearing this attire.
Oh, well, keep this then. You just keep this by yourself. Dallas. 22 to my Jets, 24. 0-4, man. 0-4. You got another one?
Encroachment. He's getting a little too close with this.
I hope you don't run out of flags tonight, as a matter of fact.
I'm an NFL official. We don't run out of flags.
Yeah, you just don't throw them at the right time.
Exactly. We had 8 in the last drive with the Cowboys game.
Back to back. Like I thought Chris Berman was in all this. He was going, flag, back. 28 for 40 with 277 yards and 0 touchdowns thrown. But he rushed for a touchdown. I'm going to throw a flag on Dak because horrible. Where was your man at this game, man?
Delay of game.
Yeah.
We're going to move on to other topics.
We can't. Not before we talk about the only bright spot in that Dallas Cowboys team, which was Zeke with 28 carries, 105 yards finally.
Yeah. Took him 28 carries, though.
Yeah. Which he was like,
do the math on that.
I'm not. And they even did it for me, and I didn't even write it down. That's how much I cared about it. I just want to tell about my boy Sam Darnold and his return from mono and eucalyptus and all that other stuff he had. 22 for 32 for 338 yards, 2 touchdowns, an interception, and a rushing touchdown. How y'all let that horribly slow look like the Florida quarterback run for a touchdown on you guys?
He's just living up to his reputation.
Le'Veon Bell only
First-round
had
draft
50
pick.
yards. I'm just
know.
saying. He didn't show up. How did y'all lose that game to the Jets?
I'll tell you how.
Jets.
Romo announced it on air for everyone. He said, and I quote, "I see a lot of Jason Garrett's footprints in this offense." I think that sums up a lot. The hot seat.
So you're going to go there.
I'm going there.
He is going. You got another flag?
Failure to be a good coach. I made that one up because that's not even an official foul, but
That's a beautiful
got
foul
his
there.
own.
Whew. There's been more penalties called right in this game than all weekend so far. in college and the NFL. Let's just be real.
I don't know. If you ask Cleveland, they've had 73 flags thrown on them this year.
Well, that probably isn't
Atlanta
enough.
64, Redskins 63. Flag happy. Those are also trash pile teams, by the way.
I
Kinda
should throw a
correlates.
flag just on Cleveland in general. Do we want to talk more of your Cowboys?
I think we should talk about something amazing like Kipchoge breaking what was almost as amazing as breaking the 4-minute mile. He broke the 2-hour marathon. Ran an hour and 59 minutes and 40 seconds. That was humanly impossible. I know we talk usually
No.
football, but
No.
this is historic.
Go on.
We had to.
No. I'm sure the viewers
He
at
ran
home.
that in less time than it took to play the game.
Yeah. Totally. No, keep talking.
That's a 4:34-minute mile. Most of the Cowboys couldn't run a 4:34-minute mile by the way they played.
We still talking about the marathon?
Exactly.
Hey, can I
Delay a game.
Can I get one of these flags? Delay a game on Richard Cowboy James for bringing up a marathon. You are stretching for other topics. I would be too, because those JETS, the 0-4
Just
Jets.
remember, #FightFlags. We can stop this epidemic.
It's Yellow Awareness Week here.
At Mad Sports.
I don't even know what to tell you, man. I feel like we should take a break.
I think that's probably a good
Because
idea.
you threw more flags than they threw in the game that were right, and you brought up a marathoner. Please
It's a good show.
Please pray for him, folks. We'll be right back. And we are back with the Flag on the Play show, a.k.a. Mad Sports. So let's talk NFL Week 6 recap, man. We've already covered the big game of the week, and
did.
the tears were a bit salty, but that's okay.
And we mentioned the Lions-Packers game a little.
We did. Let's talk about it a little bit. Flag
Sorry,
on the
Lions.
play.
Yes. That was a gift to the Packers.
What's so crazy about that is it basically changes the division.
It does.
It's an amazing. Now, I will give this. Aaron Rodgers looked like old school Aaron Rodgers. He has nobody to throw to. He has nobody nobody really. It's Aaron Rodgers and a bunch of cheeseheads.
Well, he's got Graham out there.
Yeah, but this is not the same Graham that we just,
Allison did go down and some others, and so that was.
I'm just not impressed with who they have around him, but he's still playing at a higher level, which he hadn't been the weeks before.
Right.
So good to see that he still has it going, and they needed every bit of it and every bit of call they got toward the end of the game, which we'll talk about that more later. I have a few things to say about that.
I look forward to it.
Yes, and I do too, if I can remember all of it, because there's a lot of nonsense in that game. Seattle, we talked about it last week. Russell Wilson looks like an MVP candidate
He
right
does.
now.
And we will be talking about MVPs coming up.
23 for 33, 295 yards, 2 touchdowns, a rushing touchdown, 32-28 over the Browns. Let's face it, man. The Browns are not the Sports Illustrated darlings everybody
They are
thought they
not.
were.
They got that cover when football wasn't happening. They haven't held up to it when football started.
Mayfield was 22 for 37, 249 yards. He had 1 touchdown and 3 interceptions.
Yeah, but they weren't all his fault. I
don't care.
His receiver basically threw it to the defender.
But you know what? In 10 years, when you look at that game,
all you
no
see are
one's
the
going to
stats.
say, well, they weren't all his fault. No,
is
they're
that,
going to see 3 interceptions.
Baker Mayfield's fault of trying to force it too much, or is it his team, or is it the coaching?
Where's Odell been? Yes, he had
Quiet.
101 yards on only 6 receptions. That's a lot of yards.
But
0
no
catches
payoff.
in the end zone. He looks great pregame with those one-handed catches and look, and all that and all this mess, but
Checking the time.
he's not getting the ball in the end zone. Now, is it his fault? Is he being triple teamed when they get in the red zone? Things like
If he
that.
is, there should be more open receivers on
But
the
same
field.
thing, we're not seeing stats at the end of the game later down the road. We're just seeing he didn't catch the ball. The only bright spot has been for me this year with Cleveland, and the only person that kept
Nick
him in
Chubb.
the game, Nick Chubb, 122 yards on 20 attempts, 2 touchdowns.
A lot of fantasy team owners are enjoying that.
So 2 more young quarterbacks, Houston and Kansas City, head-to-head in Kansas City. Yes, Richard and I both picked this game
Yes.
correctly, which a lot of experts were picking Kansas City to come off that win and roll.
Deshaun Watson's playing lights out.
I cannot take that from them because Kansas City usually does roll in Kansas City, especially against Houston. Houston in the past has not showed up. But Watson is 30 for 42, 280 yards, a touchdown. He had 2 picks, forcing the ball a little bit, but he had 2 rushing touchdowns. Carlos Hyde finally goes over 100 yards with 26 carries, 116 yards, and 1 touchdown. Mahomes is 19 for 35, 273 yards, 3 touchdowns, an interception.
Still a great game.
Which is still a great game. And Tyreek Hill, in his return.
He's back.
He is back. 5 catches, 80 yards, 2 touchdowns in his return.
He's
and
a weapon.
That first one he caught over 2 defenders was very impressive.
Yes.
He's a super weapon. The problem is the same thing that happened last week. That game changed on an ankle.
It did.
That ankle is bothering Mahomes, and when he got it hit later in the game and he took that little, that's what happens when athletes get that. You feel that little tingle in there because you stepped on it or somebody stepped on it. It changed it for him a little bit. When he is not as mobile as he needs to be, their game changes. And Watson is putting the ball where it needs to go. He had that one drive end in the red zone with that interception, and he admitted it was a blown shot from him. But he is playing poised, and that offensive line has showed up out of nowhere.
Finally showed up, yes. Wasn't there the first few games of the season. I don't know what happened.
But it has showed up.
And that's the difference. If they can keep showing up, especially against the Colts coming this weekend, that'll be a difference because the Colts have a defensive line.
Big stat for Kansas City is they only had 53 yards rushing, while Houston has 192, 280 yards in the air, 472 yards total, almost 500 yards against that Kansas City defense in Kansas City, where it's almost impossible to win with that crowd noise, everything. Houston looks like a completely different team at 4-2.
They do.
I was impressed. Speaking of 4-2, we won't talk long about them, but
Your Panthers.
rising up from the trash pile grave like the Undertaker. I'd use his music, but it's copyrighted.
What do you do about Cam now?
Nothing.
Leave him on the sidelines?
And if he's not ready yet, I know they're talking about questionable, but I'm not going to throw him on the trash pile because I got love for Cam. But I wouldn't play him yet. Ride that wave for a minute, especially if you
Keep
still haven't taken a
Christian
loss.
McCaffrey.
Well, and we talk about that, but to be honest, McCaffrey had a basic day.
He did.
He had
Basic
22
by his
attempts
standards.
for only 31 yards. He had a touchdown, but he had a touchdown in the air as well. It's just the fact that some of those runs he had were ridiculous. The catch where he spins. Who's showing up right now for Carolina? Allen is playing decent. He's managing the game.
That's
2
all you can ask,
touchdowns.
yes.
Is that defense. 2 fumbles, 5 interceptions, 6 sacks.
that was a
Carolina
standout
D
day.
is back to Carolina D. Winston, you might see him in a segment later. Spoiler alert!
I won't say anything. Well, speaking of,
Thanos does that. She's saying, if you haven't seen it now, I'm sorry. Spoiler alert. But Winston with 5 interceptions. You could throw 400 yards, okay. But he had 5 interceptions.
300 of those yards are to the other team.
Yeah, basically.
So let's talk about the players that are doing opposite of Winston who are playing.
Let's talk about
MVP candidates. I have a top 5 list.
Oh, bring it. I love top 5 lists.
Christian McCaffrey.
Dylon. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Christian McCaffrey at number 1. Number 2, Russell Wilson.
Yeah, we
Many
talked
have
about
at
him
number
earlier.
1.
Yep.
Number 3, Deshaun Watson. 4, Patrick Holmes. Mm-hmm. And Lamar Jackson bringing in number 5. And first, Lamar Jackson is the first QB in the Super Bowl era to pass for 250 or more yards and rush for 150 more yards. And he's currently 8th in the league in rushing.
And
To let you know how that sounds, he has 460 yards rushing. Zeke only has 491 yards.
well, Zeke was in Cabo.
Yeah, but he
Lamar
still rushed
Jackson was in training
Zeke
camp.
still rushed for over 100 yards this weekend. Don't take it from Lamar Jackson.
Oh, I'm not. But Zeke was in Cabo getting his
Where are
other
those
side of his
flags?
nose pierced.
We're
We threw that out already. Your flag. In fact, you're out of flags. You're like that Florida LSU game we'll get into later. You can only have so many flags to throw. Let's put them all in our pocket. Let's talk. Who do you think out of those 5? And there's a few others will be in the mix. Every year, no matter what, Brady's going to be around the
Right,
discussion
he's hovering
because he's
around,
Brady.
exactly.
But really, those 5 are really on the top of the heap with, I can't think of too many other people. Now, if he'd have had a better game, and wide receivers don't ever get it, but Allen from the Chargers there for a while was doing big work.
Yeah.
But he's
kind of
tailored off
regressed,
some,
exactly,
as the Chargers have as well. Who right now, let's say the season ends today, it doesn't, spoiler alert, who would you go with?
I'd go with Christian McCaffrey just because of what he's done.
The explosiveness.
The
He hadn't had an off
explosiveness
game.
has not had an off game.
Even though his last game statistically wasn't as strong, but he's blocking.
He's
doing
doing
everything
stuff we
for
haven't
them.
seen a running back
Yeah.
do, a complete game from a running back that I don't think has been rivaled. Russell Wilson's a close second because he's basically keeping Seattle in there. He's doing everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I still like McCaffrey.
And speaking of Brady, the reason he's going to be talked about toward the end of the year
If
in
they
the
go
MVP, no,
undefeated,
yeah, but
that's
that
gonna-
is part of it, and he keeps breaking records.
Right.
Now, a lot of those records are because of his longevity.
Longevity.
But he passes Peyton Manning for now second most passing yards on that list, and it speaks to longevity.
Exactly.
And he hasn't just been lights out, but they win again, 35-14 against the Giants. The Vikings moved to 4-2 with a 38-20 win. Diggs had 3 receptions for touchdowns. The Redskins and the Dolphins played in our trash game of the week.
Playing for #1 draft choice.
I'm only giving Redskins a shout out because it is their first win in Miami
And they barely won this.
in franchise history. So shout out those Redskins, even though you don't like that at all. And if you had another flag, you would definitely use it.
Yes.
It's NFL.
Yeah,
it's a good time.
You're hurting my health, so we're going to have to go to a health segment.
You know what? Let's go to a health segment. We'll be right back. Richard's got a little health tip that I think a lot of y'all need, especially Cowboys fans, because I know y'all out of breath from crying. We'll be right back.
Health tip of the week, #1, don't be a hero. Forget that super heavy. Show up once a month and do a workout approach. Consistency is the key. What's more important for starting an exercise program and remaining fit for life is to consistently show up. So do a weight that's appropriate for you and just do it consistently. For those that show up once a month, go all out, burn out, and are so sore next day they can't even walk, and you never see them again in the gym, they're not improving their health for the long term. So don't be a hero. Focus more on consistency because that in the long run is what makes a difference. The person that you see showing up in the gym or showing up to walk, run, cycle, swim, whatever their choice of exercise and movement is the individual that has the greatest results, has the best functional health, and lives the longest, healthiest, best quality of life. So pick something you enjoy and do it consistently.
That's a great tip.
Thank you.
I feel stronger already.
Just stay consistent.
The funny thing is, I listened to that tip this week,
You
and
did.
I'm trying to be consistent. They can do the same. So, speaking of consistency, I've started to get a little more consistent with my picks.
You are. We were both 9-5 this week on our picks, although mine should have been 10-4. Those refs gave the Lions
Hold on.
a loss,
Wait, hold on.
which gave me a loss
Wait,
because I
hold
had
on.
the Lions
Hold
as my
on.
pick.
Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. No, I thought it was a tear about to shed for you. Go ahead. You pick that pick. My bad.
But
Go ahead.
for the year, you finally hit 50 wins.
Oh,
at
you're
50
way
and
ahead of me.
41.
Let's get into that. But that's okay.
58-33. But
Oh,
you're,
58.
You're closing
All right.
in. You're closing in. You're only
slowly.
8 games.
I'm like that marathon
8
runner.
games
I'm
behind.
Just slowly
You're
running
going to have
a
to do more
4-minute
than
mile.
tie me, though, each week to
Well, then you
gain
stop
ground.
copying all my picks playing from ahead. I get it. It's cool.
All right.
Let's go.
Richard's picks already
Richard's
in print.
picks already.
David's picks.
Let's go.
We're about to hear them.
We're about to hear the
First,
craziness.
Thursday night's game.
Thursday night's game.
Chiefs at
Hey,
Broncos.
can I say this? So far, the Thursday night's game have been pretty
They've
good
been
this
pretty
year, and
entertaining.
usually they're on trash. And this year,
This year?
a little
Well,
better. So
with-
who's playing?
With the Broncos' resurgence, maybe this will be another good one. Chiefs at Broncos.
Chiefs go in there and whoop that booty. They're tired of losing.
We
I'm
both
going with
have the Chiefs.
Of course we do. You see, America? You see it? Setting me up, huh?
Now we have your trash Dolphins at the Bills.
See, I want them to rise up and win a game. But every year, and you know it'll probably be about when the Patriots are about 10-0, we'll see those guys that were on the 72 Dolphins talking all the mess and be like, oh, when they finally lose a game, that's when they finally get some shine. So Dolphins about to get that karma, and they not winning a game this year. Let's go whatever other team.
Bills.
Yeah, Bills. I knew that.
All right.
Let's go.
Jaguars at Bengals. Another pretty easy pick.
Is it? Is it? You're right. Jacksonville. Let's go.
I was waiting. Okay, we both have the Bills and we both have the Jaguars. Okay, the first kind of tough pick. Vikings at Lions.
I'm really liking what the Vikings are doing on defense. And after everybody was talking that mess, Kirk Cousins comes out of nowhere. I'm going Vikings. I think Detroit's going to be
Detroit struggles to stop
yeah.
elusive backs, and that's Dalvin Cook.
Yeah,
so
sure.
that's another one.
Minnesota.
Matthew Stafford, I think, will light it up in the air again, but not enough. So
Yeah, but he's due for an injury. I mean, any minute now. So let's just be honest.
So we're both calling the Vikings for that one. Next game, and this was another tough choice. I went back and forth on Raiders at Packers.
I'll let you choose.
I went with the Raiders.
I'll go with the Packers. It's just because I am a big Packers fan, as we discussed last week for sure. So that's in Green Bay. Done.
Well, the Packers are working off a short week.
Oh, it doesn't
Haven't
matter.
played Monday night.
They got the refs in their
Raiders
pocket
had
now.
a bye.
No, we're going Green
Yeah,
Bay.
they do have the
We're
refs
good.
in there.
We're good. Let's go.
Hashtag fight flags.
Yeah.
We're going to overcome that this week.
Hashtag Green
So
Bay wins another one.
Derek Carr is going to be keeping it under control. We'll see.
Sure.
I think the Raiders' run defense has it better than expected, so Aaron Jones is going to be able to run all over.
Go Green Bay.
Go Raiders. Next one, Rams at Falcons. Another pretty easy pick, although
but the Rams have been faltering a little bit, and it's.
But the Falcons have a self-destruct button that comes with their playbook.
I believe in you, Atlanta. Even though later on this in a few segments after this, I probably won't believe in you. Come on, Atlanta. Give me a victory this week. Why not?
All right. David's going for those Falcons.
ATL, baby. I hear you, JD. I'm with you, dog. Let's go. Luda, my boy. Let's go.
Richard has the Rams. Then we have the Texans at Colts, another tough.
I think Texans on a roll right now. I know Indianapolis has been a hard place for them to play throughout the years, but this is not the same Indianapolis with good quarterbacks.
I'm going with Deshaun Watson, so Texans for both of us.
Texans.
49ers at Redskins. Another pretty easy
Do
one.
the 49ers carry on? I'd say yes.
They'll remain undefeated for another week.
They are for real this year.
Cardinals at Giants. We have Saquon Barkley coming back for the Giants.
It doesn't matter.
But Arizona's getting their top cornerback, Patrick Peterson, back this week.
I'm going New York.
Murray's. You're
going
New York?
I'm going New York.
I'm sticking with the Cardinals.
Good. I need some victories. Let's go.
Chargers at Titans. I had a tough time with this one, too, because they're both frustrating teams.
I'm going Chargers because I believe in their quarterback
Yes.
more than I do
They have more
Mariota. And they
firepower.
benched him, and they don't know what they're doing anymore. Let's go.
I agree. So we both have Chargers. Saints at Bears.
This is actually a good game because Chicago is always a hard place to play. If it was a little later in the year, it'd be even harder. We still don't have Drew Brees, but it doesn't matter because right now the Saints are clicking. I am going New Orleans.
I am, too. The Bears can only pray for a massive snowstorm to help them.
I mean, massive
That would
snowstorm.
be their only shot.
And that would be one that would cancel the game.
Exactly.
Snowstorm.
Ravens at Seahawks.
Seahawks.
I'm Seahawks as well. Russell Wilson.
Playing at another level right now.
Exactly. Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Our first playoff game of the year for first place in the division. Eagles at Cowboys.
Well, you know, Green's been good to me over the last few weeks. And they haven't let me down yet in the last few weeks. The teams have risen to my picks. I would make an Eagle sound, but I don't know one, so we'll just go Philadelphia. And that's a shout out to all my Philly people. And I have family in Philly, so please believe you're in trouble if we win. Just know that now. Philly's my team. Let's go Philly.
This is a turnaround game for Dallas. They need this.
They need every piece of this
They
game.
do. Yeah. The Cowboys, obviously.
Obviously, yeah.
I can't even say any more about that right now. It's too emotional.
It is too
subject.
emotional. You need
I'll
a
be
loss.
throwing
Let's
flags
go.
left and right.
Let's go Philly.
Last game, Monday night, we have Patriots at Jets. Those Jets, boy, they're for real after you wore their hat.
You
You've
see
been
the
preaching-
logo. You
preaching them.
see my team. the Jets right here.
Does that mean you're
We're going Patriots. Let's go, New England.
We both
Let's
have
not
to-
be crazy now. That was last week. You
That's
kidding
right.
me?
You're an Eagles fan. This coming week, I
No,
forgot.
who said that? I haven't switched yet. Let's go.
Patriots for both of us.
Well, it'll be close, but I can come a little bit. See, I'm just inching my way closer as much as I can, and then by the end of the year, as long as I'm right in there, we're good to go, man. You can make your phone calls now for your 800 number. I'll give you your winning picks right now. I hate those commercials, but I love the next commercial, and we'll be right back. Mad Sports. Welcome back, Mad Sports. I am David, whoever is beating the Cowboys this week, Hicks, and my co-host.
Richard, come on, Dallas. James.
Well,
How many more weeks are you going to make me suffer?
he said that with so much.
How many more weeks do I have to listen to this?
All right, well, I'm just going to go
You're
in.
killing our show.
Let's get, no, you're making Mad Sports great again.
Jerry, where are you?
All right, let's get into it, man. I got some teams. I got all kinds of things. Let me start. I picked them this week, but that doesn't mean they made it off my trash pile. Those Atlanta Falcons, those dirty birds at 1-5. Look, it's on you guys. You guys can make it off the trash pile with a big victory for me.
Especially since he picked you.
But as of right now, on the trash pile. Thank you very much. The Redskins.
Yes.
No coach, no help, no nothing. The only thing they got going for them right now is their consistency in the trash pile. Thank you very much.
Dallas approves of that.
Dallas
Just
does.
Keep it up.
Now, this team started out kind of strong in the beginning of the year and had fantasy points going crazy at least and had some wins. But those Chargers have gone like a nosedive, almost like those Cowboys, but a little worse to me because they didn't have near the potential. So, Chargers, sorry fans, but you are in the trash pile. All right. The 2-4 Titans, they get 2 this week.
All right.
First, we're going to start with their quarterback, a guy, I kind of liked for a long time, and I expected a lot from him. He's got a 38% completion percentage in his last game.
I can't believe he's still playing.
He threw for 183 yards. And there was a bunch of high school kids that threw for way more yards this year.
That's what we're
And
saying.
this-
Ryan Tannehill resurrect.
When Tannehill has to come in for you, it's an automatic no-brainer. Trash pile of the week. All right. Now, that means if you benched him and you had to put in Tannehill, Titans at 2-4. I'm sorry, Tennessee. It's a beautiful state. Love it. Right next to my home state, just the mountains. Fall's a beautiful time. In fact, right now is the best time to go to Tennessee if you want to see some trash. All right. The Bengals, Cincinnati. Like I said last week, man, I don't have much to say about them, but I'm sure it's a beautiful town. But at 0-6, like, they're not even – I don't even know why I keep having to throw this piece of
I
paper.
don't know. Talk to WKRP in Cincinnati.
Trash pile of the week. All right. Now, this hurts a little bit because I picked them this week. And this
Oh, boy.
is, but I have to believe in them a little bit, and I want to apologize to my family now. But the Eagles, your team is not ending up on the trash. So let me say that first, okay? But there's a player on the Eagles I need to speak to personally. Mr. Zach Brown, you said Kirk Cousins was the weakest part of the Vikings. And he came out 38, 4 touchdowns. 4 touchdowns. You're on the defense, and the
Couldn't stop
weakest
him.
part of the game that you said threw for 4 touchdowns and obliterated your team. So, Zach Brown, your trash talk gets you thrown
Now,
on the trash pile.
you've
But
been
wait,
trash talked
but
in
wait.
Davis's trash.
But wait, there's more. Slow down just a minute. I'm not done with you yet, Zach Brown. We just found out today, earlier, as we were filming, on his day off, the Eagles release veteran linebacker Zach Brown. So I hate to hit you where it hurts, but your trash talk got you trash from the team that's trash, and you, my friend, personally, Mr. Zach Brown, although I wouldn't say his face, he's probably way bigger than me. But right now, on the trash pile, ladies and gentlemen. I bet I made that bucket too. There's no telling. So, let's go from one trash player to another, but this one had all the hype in the world. Talking to you, Johnny Manziel.
Johnny Manziel.
Baker Mayfield. Same team, same
Browns curse.
Browns curse. Baker Mayfield has had 6 games to play this year, and he's thrown for 11 interceptions. I'm not very good at math, but I would tell you this, that's not a good statistic to have. Baker Mayfield, love your commercials, but you might want to go
Practice.
trash. All right, we're almost done. Have I talked about the Dolphins yet? Of
haven't
course
heard the
not, but
Dolphins.
everybody knows no wins mean no getting up off the trash pile. Goodbye. Trash of the week. Trash. I need a little jingle, don't I? Trash of the week.
You do.
Trash of the week. Now, this next 2-part trasher, it fits in really good with what we talked about earlier. First, I'm going to go and we will throw a flag on this next trash one because NFL refs, now you're starting to change the outcomes of not only games, but divisions. Ask
Exactly.
Detroit how they're feeling
I
right
agree.
now.
You get double flagged on that one.
Double flagged, triple flagged, because that's about how many calls you had at the end of that one game that didn't go anybody's way but yours. And now there's controversy that a gambler has been betting certain games certain refs are a part of. Let's see if that doesn't come later down the road. You heard it
Conspiracy
here
theory.
first. Conspiracy theory. But NFL refs, see the follow through? Trash pile of the week. And this last one, this is not geared toward you.
Okay, I'm going to try to stay calm.
Not geared toward you, okay? Because you are not one of these. You are actually one of the solid people in this category. But I am talking to you, fickle Cowboy fans. Not the diehard Cowboy fans like my co-host here.
I feel like a horse.
That ride or die.
Ride or die.
With their team. I'm talking to you fickle Cowboy fans. Not like my co-host who is strong with his love of the Cowboys, who carries on that great Cowboy
We
pride
just have to put on our hard hat.
day in and day
keep
out.
working, keep
but
grinding.
no, those fickle Cowboys fans that one week it's Super Bowl, the next week it's fire the coach, the next week it's fire the trainers, the owners, the laundromat people. You can't go from I think we're making the Super Bowl to we need to overhaul the entire team to one week it's fireworks and shooting off love, and the next week you're breaking your TV and burning the jerseys.
He has a point.
You fickle Cowboy fans. I got to really grind this one up here because you are my last trash pile of the week. And I'm going to let you throw this one because you should be
appreciate
mad
it.
at them too. Just
Left-handed.
And that is David's trash of the week. We'll be right back after these brief messages. And we are back. 409 The Heat Sports presents Mad Sports. Well, Richard,
It's
it's all
that
on
time.
you.
As you know, with these little rants, there's always a twist to them.
Always.
We're always talking straight to you about
I tune
what's
in every
heartfelt.
week just for this one.
Well, here we go. And this one is for everybody out there talking about America's team and the title that they feel they have not earned or maybe don't have the right to anymore.
Okay.
So let's talk about it. How'd they come up with that in the first place? Well, a little history. Bob Ryan coined this for the Cowboys while preparing and editing the team's 1978 season highlight film. He was quoted as saying, "I wanted to come up with a different twist on their team highlight film. I noticed then and had noticed earlier that wherever the Cowboys played, you saw people in the stands with Cowboys jerseys and hats and pennants. Plus, they were always the national game on television." So the Cowboys didn't coin it themselves. That came from NFL Films. The nickname originated with the team's 1978 highlight film, where the narrator opens with the following introduction. They appear on television so often that their faces are as familiar to the public as presidents and movie stars. They are the Dallas Cowboys, America's team, and that's how it started. But are we still there today? Does it still hold true? That's the question. So let's talk about today's mediocre Cowboys. Here are some stats on them. In 2014, the Cowboys generated $620 million in revenue, a record for a U.S. sports team. In 2015, the Dallas Cowboys became the first sports team to be valued at $4 billion, making it the most valuable sports team in the world. That's not just America, that's in the world. More valuable than the soccer teams and any other sport.
Security of the world, Craig.
In 2018, 9 of the 50 highest rated sports broadcasts from all sports were regular season Cowboy games. People are tuning in. People are watching.
I'm listening.
Jerry Jones generates an estimated $340 million in sponsorships and premium seating revenue at AT&T Stadium. In 2018, it became the first national franchise to hit the $5 billion mark as far as value. It was their 4th straight year as the world's most valuable sports franchise. They don't seem to be descending in value. There's no decrease. And it was their 12th straight year as Forbes lists most valuable NFL team. The average television audience for a football game, 15.8 million. Dallas's, 23 million. Not even close. So love them or hate them, you are making the Cowboys America's team. You're the problem, as David would say. You are watching. You can go to any stadium and there are stands crowded with Cowboys fans. But if it was only about winning, wouldn't the Patriots be the new America's team?
They got the colors.
They do. So if we're only considering wins as the standard for being America's team, we would all know the name of the winningest high school program in America. Do you know it? Do you want to take a guess? It's not a Beaumont team.
Throw a flag on myself because I don't have a clue.
Valdosta High School.
That was going to be my second guess.
And where is Valdosta?
Over there.
Exactly. You don't even know where the school is.
No.
It's in Georgia.
Yeah.
Has over 917 wins. If it was all about winning, everybody in America would know the name Valdosta. It's the most in high school history.
People in Valdosta don't even know
Exactly.
the name
You know how many
Valdosta.
people are in Valdosta?
7.
56,481 people. Okay, so small town. It's the 14th largest city in Georgia, in southern Georgia. But how about college? Most wins. Michigan, 958.
Khaki pants.
Exactly. I don't hear America's
man.
team coming out there.
No.
Ohio State, 916 wins. Texas, 911 wins. Alabama, 910 wins. Yale, 909 wins.
Yale?
Yale.
I throw a flag on that. Nobody cares about no Yale.
Not America's team. None of those are called America's team. So let's take it back to the NFL.
Let's take it back.
Let's just take wins. Most regular season wins as of the start of this season. Number 1, Chicago Bears.
The Bears.
761 wins. Green Bay Packers, number 2 with 743 wins. Number 3, New York Giants, 692 wins. Our producer's a Packers fan. He was enjoying that number 2 spot. Number 3, or rather, that was the Giants. Number 4, Pittsburgh Steelers, 628. Number 5, Washington Redskins. At 600, we have to keep going down. Where do you think the Dallas Cowboys rank?
Obviously not in the top 10.
Nope, not in the top 10. Number 13
Middle of the
with
pack.
512 wins. So what am I saying? Evidently, winning is not the sole nor primary criteria for this moniker of America's team. So all you Cowboys haters who every week talk about how the Cowboys haven't won since the 1990s are only fueling their true winnings at the bank. Sadly, this speaks to the American theme. A country where there is unparalleled freedom and opportunity for chasing dreams, but no matter what you do, no matter how much good you do for your community, you will not be known as a winner until you make money. It's a sad statement. And the end is all about money. And because of that, so many are marginalized. So many good ideas are never actualized. So many are looked down upon solely based on their financial standings or circumstances. In my opinion, it is a sad statement. And the Dallas Cowboys are representing that. And maybe we should reconsider what it means to be America's team. Because as long as it remains about how much money is generated, the Cowboys remain America's team. They are number one in the only category that matters, money. And that is Richard's rants.
And that rant was on the money. We'll be right back, Mad Sports. We are back. 409 The Heat Sports presents Mad Sports. David Hicks, Richard James. Y'all know what it is. It's time to get into some college football. There were some great games. We even went to see one semi-live. Not actually at the game, but we had a live watch party. Shout out to Fuzzy's Tacos for having us out. We'll be doing more of those in the future. Make sure you follow us on Instagram.
That queso is great, by the way.
Amazing. He licked that actually out the bowl. If he could have put his whole face in that bowl, I'm just saying.
I would have. It was good.
Follow us on Instagram and follow us on Twitter at Mad Sports Show for all of our live events that we'll be doing. But let's get into it. College football. It was a fun weekend of action, man. Talk to me about it. What do you want to talk about?
There were so many good games. We can just start right off with the one we watched, LSU.
Let's
taking
go.
Another victory.
The game of the week, really, LSU, Florida. LSU tops them 42-28. It really was a much closer game than that until about the third quarter when that momentum really started
Yes.
to shift.
But that's where you see your top teams usually run away with games, is the
Who
third
makes
and fourth
the
quarters.
adjustments? And Florida did not make adjustments. In fact, the only adjustments Florida made was at some point in the end of the third quarter, they decided to turn over their playbook and realize there was a back sheet to that Waffle House menu that they were using because the play calling. If I did trash piles for college, I try not to pick on the youngsters, but the playbook would have ended up on my trash
That'd be
pile.
on the coaches, so not the youngsters there.
It just didn't make sense. Some of
It didn't.
It looked like old school Bill O'Brien coaching. It really did. Shout out to Bill O'Brien, even though y'all are winning now. I just don't understand the draws and different things.
Maybe they wanted to keep the Heisman hopeful strong.
What is this? And then
Freeze frame. The
how many
running back
times
and
did the
quarterback
Florida
froze.
quarterback glitch? Like we were watching
I thought
Madden.
there was a glitch on the Madden.
Who
I don't know
pumped?
if you saw that, but
He pump fake like this.
he just basically stood there, and the running back just stood there and looked at him.
They both just like, wait a minute. Hey, man, this next play, my mom wants a good Instagram picture. So you got to stop the action. She got an old school flip phone camera. So it don't have as many pixels as the real new cameras. So right before we try to score this
She's still
touchdown,
using the Polaroid
that's
camera.
going to put us back in the game. I need you to pause for a minute. And they said, hike. And then ran the play. They were full of nobody.
Yeah, there was a lot of suspect things happening, including the refs, who I think only had 3 flags
Look,
among
the
themselves.
refs had 3 flags among pass interference calls.
Non-existent.
We talked about that as we watched the game, that it was like a either perfectly run game or the ref
They
said,
were
no,
just letting
not
them
tonight.
play.
The ref said, I was on a long flight to get here. We're running this like a middle school game. Running clock, no fouls, let's go. It was horrendous. Like, they didn't call any. There were times where the defender was so pass interference blatant, no calls. Now, I'm not saying that's what lost Florida the game because
No, it
I think it
didn't.
was play calling and the fact that Burrow came dropping dimes to people.
He still looks like a Heisman hopeful.
He not only looks like a Heisman hopeful, he looks like he's going to be playing Sunday somewhere.
Absolutely.
Now, unfortunately, it might be for the Dolphins, and that's not going to be good. But he looked like an NFL-ready quarterback.
He did.
He was really impressive. It was a really good game up until that point. We really had a good time, too, like I said, at Fuzzy Taco. The crowd was getting into it there at the game. Nobody was going to Florida except for DJ Mann,
Right.
and he was not happy. And
That's the way it goes.
if
Well,
you're a Florida fan, I wouldn't be because they didn't show up in that second half.
that game boosted LSU to number 2 in the AP poll, which I disagree
Yeah.
with. I'm with the coaches poll where they have them at number 3 because I think until Alabama or Clemson loses,
You
they've
got to
earned
keep
that
them.
spot.
Yeah,
You gotta
they've earned
keep
that
them.
spot.
They've
but
earned it.
Put them in the top 4 for sure.
Yeah, they are number 3 in the coaches and number 2 in the AP, which they deserve to be there. They're
Alabama rolls over A&M 47-28. That game was really never close. Penn State beats Iowa in a 10-17 matchup. Penn State slowly is putting together some victories here and there that might end up down the road that helps them. There's only about, I think it's, the top 7 teams are undefeated. So
Right.
Penn State's right there on that outside of that 4, and they have not been in that top 4 in a while. So to see Penn State coming from their checkered past of what's happened there to now, whole new staff, a lot of new kids, and really putting together some wins and a good run this year has been nice to see. The big lunchtime game, especially here down south, Oklahoma versus Texas.
Yeah, and the outcome was as called.
As called, but same thing. Texas kind of made it a little closer than the game actually was toward the end, but it was a hard game. Those two teams went at it. Like I said before, I think that Oklahoma quarterback is on a mission to win it all this
Another
year.
Heisman hopeful
And,
there.
yeah.
And it did cost Texas a slip in the rankings down to number 14. And,
Yeah, that was-
15 rather.
Once you lose one, you definitely can't lose that
can't,
second one.
and
Once
they've
you
lost
lost
two.
that second one, you're out. There's not going to be a bunch of craziness, that we know of.
But they have at
toward
least
the
kept
end.
them above some others because of their strength of schedule. For instance, Baylor and SMU are both undefeated, as well
Yes.
as Minnesota, and they're above them. Arizona and Michigan each have 1 loss, but Texas is still ranked above them, which deservedly so. They've played
Yep.
some tough opponents in LSU and Oklahoma.
Speaking of undefeated, number 19 ranked SMU at 6-0.
Yes, and those Baylor Bears with a double overtime victory to
You talked
retain
about the
their-
high school team earlier. I want somebody to email us that knows what the heck SMU even stands for, number one, and where they're located at 6-0. But if
Southern
you-
Methodist University.
If you're in this area
I'll just tell you.
in Texas, don't give it away to them. I was going to give y'all a gift card. No, I'm just kidding. There are people at home right now going, Southern, who's SMU? SM. But they're 6-0, ranked number 19. Let's talk about the big upset of the weekend, though.
Yes.
Georgia, as I said, if I did college football, might end up on that trash. In
Yeah.
Georgia.
Guess who's not in the Heisman running? Frome. I'm sorry to call you out. And
they dropped how many spots because of that game? I mean, they
it's
dropped
10th.
like
They're
yeah,
in 10th.
They're in 10th. Huge
from 3rd
drop.
to 10th. That's the biggest
They
drop of the
lose
week.
to an unranked South Carolina, unranked in Georgia, in double overtime.
Yeah, they shouldn't have had to have gotten there, and then their kicker
Look,
was Mr.
look.
Doesn't Miss.
Hey,
missed
Mr.
one.
Mr. Backup Dancer for the Revenge of the Nerds movie, you've got to make that kick.
Don't pick on people with glasses.
I'm not picking on people with glasses, but when you're wearing a football helmet and I see them ski goggles all the way underneath, bro, he's got 2 fish bowls on his face. I'm just saying, no wonder he missed. Can we not get some better pedigree glasses for this young man? The poor guy. Not only do you miss, but you're now the meme of the
So
week.
wrong.
So wrong. Totally wrong. I feel for him. Because,
do
the
too.
BS fanatics and crazy fans, they're sending him all kinds of threatening letters and he's this,
Well,
that. You know how
that's
those
a little-
crazy fans
exactly.
are, stupid people. But, man, it did not. When it's going to go down in history, or Georgia history of him, you just see us go. It looked like a bad Lifetime movie network
was.
show. The way, double overtime. I felt so bad for him because the way his face just dropped. I hate it. So this week, we do have what I think are some games that are to watch for, even though
give us those key matchups.
these, to me, aren't games that people actually will be thinking to even watch. But I think Oklahoma needs to watch it against West Virginia.
True.
Because you just came off a big win against Texas, and West Virginia gave Texas all they could handle. And you might be overlooking them because now you're on a roll and you just beat Texas, and you're still off that Texas high of winning that game. So you come in maybe not as prepared. That coach has got to keep them. Same thing with Clemson. You're playing a 4-2 Louisville at Louisville. That's a tough game.
Yeah, and Clemson has stumbled some in a couple of their games. So
look what they did with North Carolina.
Right, exactly.
So this is a tough game you're going into. I think an intriguing matchup to watch as far as fun game to watch. Maybe not in the rankings, but Oregon versus Washington, 5-1 and 5-2. That's going to be a fun little shootout there. We talked about how Georgia dropped. Penn State, 6-0, takes on Michigan, who is 5-1. Now,
khaki pants.
Michigan is number 16, but they're still 5-1, which as the year progressive could keep rising. And about that, the rest of the teams, Alabama, the rest of them, they play usually should be easy wins.
Right.
To me, those are kind of the key matchups of this week that are going to be fun games to watch.
Shout out is Tulane is actually in 26th ranked. Not top 25, but they're
Appalachian State undefeated at 24.
At 24.
There's some still undefeated teams that if they could just go on a roll and win out their games, now they won't be looked at in those top four.
Right.
Appalachian State goes undefeated the entire year. Nobody's putting them in that top four, but it helps their recruiting, helps the college, it helps everything about
helps everybody in the area.
So there's still some key matchups and key teams to watch that are toward the bottom of that pile, and we still have, 7
exactly
top teams that are undefeated.
Helps with the sponsors. So let's go to that commercial, speaking of sponsors.
Speaking of sponsors, we'll be right back. And we are back. We are coming toward the end of the show. Look, we've dogged it all year.
Yeah, I'm going to take a nap during this segment.
Oh, man. See, he's still dogging it. Look, everybody knows we're not the biggest baseball fans. Okay? We've established that, and the baseball fans that watch our show, which are probably few and far between, probably hate us for that.
But we have watched the past several games.
Yes, it is that because we've said it.
The
hard thing about baseball, if you're not a diehard baseball fan, is the fact that the games don't matter when they're playing in the middle of June. Even if you go to the games, and I've taken my kids for enjoyable times, and it's 400 degrees sitting in the sun, and the popcorn's salty, and the Coke costs $72.
If you take all the NFL games that have been played this year to date, it's still less games than one team plays in a baseball season.
But this is not the harp on baseball.
Right.
We started to try to get positive, and with these two teams especially, Astros and the Yankees, it has been a hard-fought series. The Astros had to come and really battle in that first round. Ran against some good pitching against a wild card team that just was happy to be there, it looked like, and kind of stretched that series to 5, which nobody thought would go. Meanwhile, the Yankees are over there with their sweep. These are the two teams everybody wanted to see.
Right.
Let's be honest. Nobody cares about the other series going on unless you live in those two towns.
Congratulations to the Nationals, by the way, on making it to the World Series. Hopefully, because we're recording this early, the Astros meet you there. They did put in a great win today with Cole pitching on the mound. He looked fantastic.
We film on a Tuesday, and they came out and they put up. Altuve has been
lights out.
Lights out. He is just from just every game I see him, he makes the hits, and he's coming up with big home runs to start games. When you're taking that first pitch of the game and you're launching that sucker, not even a few pitches, the first pitch, it changes everything for what your pitcher can do, what the other team's pitchers are doing.
Even though he's half the size of Aaron Judge, it's amazing talent.
He is MVP caliber every single year, and he is the heart of that team. And he impresses me every time I watch it. Our family really has enjoyed watching these playoff runs. When they ran in the World Series, we had a great time watching them.
That was the best series.
The 10th inning game the other night, extra inning game the other night. Huge home run to walk off. It was a great game. Houston is poised to go back to that next round, World Series. We're hoping for the best. But baseball is fun right now because the games really matter.
Every game counts.
When you watch it in the playoffs, it's just such a different game because every pitch you look at, everything changes with every. I mean, I'm sitting there going, I'm not a baseball fan, but I can't take my eyes off of it because every single pitch means something. Because it could change. A guy gets walked, you got one guy on second and a guy on first, and you're down 2, and you know that one pitch could change the entire game.
Right. We have the game going on at the gym, and everyone's stopping to watch.
It's fun.
It's captivating.
It really is fun. So let's go Astros, man. We want to see them in the World Series, and we want to see them win that World Series. So, well, like I said, we don't talk baseball a lot, but I am really enjoying these baseball playoffs. And if you're a Yankees fan, I'm sorry, but we hope you are sitting at home by the time this airs. But there's supposed to be a big storm, so they might even play by the time this airs. So maybe when we film the next one, we'll talk about the World Series, and somebody will probably win by the time that airs, but that's what happens.
But we'll be watching, and that's what matters.
But we'll still be watching because the games matter right now.
Exactly.
Baseball, can't watch in June. But I'm watching now, and I'm enjoying what I see. Hey, it's been an awesome show as always. Go Jets. This week, my team.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. Put a rock in that flag.
You heard it. A rock on this flag. It's been one of those type of nights.
Last talk we have about those Jets. We're moving on.
I'll throw a flag on this whole show. How about that? We'll see you next week. Make sure you follow us at Mad Sports Show on Twitter and Instagram. We've got some really cool segments coming up too. Some ways you can get involved with the show. Parents, the way you can get your kids involved with the show. We've got a lot of cool things coming up. So make sure you just follow us on there for all the things, hashtags.
You'll be looking for The Future is Mad for those kids highlights.
Yeah, and we will tell y'all more about that and how you can get your kids on this show. And there's some awesome things coming up. So follow our Instagram,
look
follow
for us
our
on
Twitter.
YouTube 409, The Heat Sports, Mad Sports.
Subscribe,
you'll see us there.
like, tell a friend to tell a friend. We are Mad Sports, and we'll see you next week.
Undefeated.